All right, here we go, and welcome back to Straight Talk. I am really excited tonight. I was hoping that the singer Yappa, who made this song "Good Morning," which is a Hebrew-related song, uh, praising God or praising Yah, and for whatever reason, I'm praying that she's okay. But we're not going to be able to have her on tonight. But perhaps next week, when I find out what's going on, and hopefully that will take place. But anyways, I really wanted to get into the meat and bone of what is really going on in America. And I've had the opportunity to speak with Dr. Kia, who, Brother Maurice, is saying that people are starting to see their debts released, wiped out. And I'm happy to see that. I don't know when it will take place on a bigger scale, but at the very least, everything is in motion. And the fact that these things are happening brings everything to fruition. And the fact that people are beginning to see for a very long time what was being talked about in the Sarah. And an international version of that is Gasara. And so as we move forward, I pray that these things do become revealed and in action. And I'm also hearing that, you know, that people are going to be receiving foundational Black Americans and people in general are going to be receiving $10,000 per month for the next 11 years. So that's $120,000 a year times 10 is $1 million or something. So yeah, I mean it's going to be one. So that's part of what we're going to be talking about tonight. The other part is the DEI and what these wannabe Latinos are saying, and what Black people are saying as foundation of Black Americans, and how that affects us moving forward. Or moving forward, so never forget that righteousness and justice always wins in the end. It may seem to be an uphill battle, but in the end, it always wins. And those who partake in it will receive a lot of blessing, and those who partake in evil will get what is coming to them. And I think, and I know we're going to see that as the day, weeks, and months go on, and as we are fully invested um, with crypto and whatever other investments that we have been talking about on the show, like LBGI, the stocks, and all of that. So be on the lookout for a lot of big changes that are going on, and we're going to be focusing in on what that and what that means wealth wise and as a people. So without further ado, I want to get into the videos that I have set aside. I'm just going to take them one by one, and I want to comment on them, and we'll just take it. Anyway, I started and took a nap and everything and knocked that out, but it's all good. So, hold on. So we're going to go to the next. We're going to go to the first video. Whoever here, please let me know, and welcome to the show. Um, we're going to go to the first video, and this features Dr. Kia and what she has been saying in regard to the resurrection of the United States of the Republic. We're not on maritime law now; we're on land law, and that's a big difference. Uh, she's going to be talking a very little bit about the Brunson brothers and another case, the Chevron case, is dead and gone. So let me get to that, and then we'll be right back. Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Oh no, I'm sorry. This is hold on. Oh, okay. I gotta go to the YouTube. I'm sorry. So, but let me see. Let me read this. The reply. I just want to say my best friend called me this morning to say her friend and neighbor just had a $6,000 credit card debt were given. A letter was sent to her from the creditor. We all don't live in the best area, but perhaps, but people around here are becoming believers finally. And remember, Dr. Kidd said, remember when I said that the debt collection agency were told to stand down and that we were going to have a debt jubilee? People are now testifying that they received letter from debt collection cancellation. That was a comment left on my video below. So let me see what these are. A lady from the hometown told me last month that the same thing happened to her. They cleared a high balance credit card. I haven't received a notice yet, and the IRS is going after me via certified signed letter delivered. I wish my family wouldn't have opened the door to the mailman. Then the next day, another piece came wanting their $100. I work for peanuts, and these jokers coming at me. Well, I don't know you, Kimberly Peters, but the IRS is over and done with, and you never had to pay um, the IRS income tax. That is a voluntary tax that you pay. So if you did it out of ignorance and not out of knowledge. So that's the reason why they're coming after you. But even then, you can always go back and correct it and zero out everything, and perhaps even get money back, or which you should be getting money back. So, but with that, I'm gonna go to the YouTube thing, and then we'll let it we'll let it play out. Solo necesitas el nombre y la visión de tu proyecto para dar el primer paso. Silver and gold are wealth. Even the Bible and the God of the Bible, Yahweh, considers wealth to be four things that we're going to talk about today, okay? But a lot of people who don't realize that gold and silver are wealth will tell you you shouldn't invest in gold and silver, you shouldn't be wealthy because God doesn't want you to be wealthy. So the scripture that they bring up is the one found in Ezekiel, and I'm going to show you this. And it's important that we look at the scriptures and see what people say about the scriptures and how maybe they just are not looking at them or breaking them down properly or interpreting them properly. So what people have said to me is, Dr. Pruitt, I'm not worried about silver and gold because the Bible says it's nothing. The Bible says in Ezekiel 7 and 19 that they'll throw their silver into the streets and their gold will be treated as a thing that is unclean. Their silver and gold will not be able to deliver them in the day of the Lord's wrath. It is not satisfying their hunger, neither will it fill their stomachs, for it has caused them to stumble and to sin. So this is the scripture that people have talked to me about and referred to many times when they talk about gold and silver. But what I tell them to do is read further. Read further into the scriptures. When you look at the 20th verse, what does the 20th verse say? So again, we're talking about silver and gold and how God considers, classifies, or gauges your wealth. So what they'll tell me is they'll just show me 19, but you always have to exegete and eisegete the scriptures. That means you exegete the scripture, you break it down, you look at the transliteration and the translation. You also eisegete, you look at the words in the text, you interpret it based on the context of the scriptures, the historical context, what's going on in history, and you look at all the scriptures surrounding that particular scripture. So look at verse 20. It says, his beautiful ornaments they transformed into pride, and they used them to fashion their vile images and detestable idols. Therefore, I will make these into something unclean for them. So when a person tells you you cannot have wealth or silver and gold because God says that
There were going to be a stumbling block to these particular people whom the prophet Ezekiel was speaking to in the 19th verse. You have to remind them that he was speaking to a specific group of people. And the reason why their gold and silver was a stumbling block to them is because they had taken the beautiful ornaments that God had given them and changed them into pride and symbols of idols. They carved out golden images and they worshiped those images as being a god unto themselves. So God said, I will make those into something that's unclean for them, not for you. He will make those ornaments that he gave them something that was unclean only for those specific people because they didn't know how to reverence them, they didn't know how to treasure them, they didn't know how to give thanks for them or to pass them down to their posterity. Why do you say that, Dr. Kulu? I say that because the scripture says a good man leaves an inheritance for his children's children, and the riches of the wealth are stored up for the righteous. So family members, you must understand and understand that the Bible speaks explicitly about what wealth is. This is something that the elite do not want you to know, which is why they're trying so desperately to get it out of your hands. Good morning, joyous rising, golden rising, my darling. It's always good to see you. So, a lot of people in power have silver and gold. Ask yourself why bankers have collected a record amount of gold just in last year alone. Why did they, in the fourth quarter, collect 400 tons of gold in the fourth quarter alone of 2022? And in the entire year, they collected even far more than that. Yes. Why also have banks classified gold as a tier 1 asset, meaning that gold is now classified as money because they understand and understand that gold and silver are wealth. Gold and silver is not only biblical money, but it's constitutional money according to Article 1, Section 10. But let's get back to what God says about silver and gold, or what does God call wealth? How does the Bible and God classify wealth? Let's start here with Genesis 13 and 2.
Hold on.
And Abraham was very rich in cattle, in silver, and in gold. Here's another version of that. Now Abraham was very rich in livestock, silver, and gold. So God classifies wealth as livestock, silver, and gold. And he also classifies wealth as land. So it's land, livestock, silver, and gold, family. The scripture says that the earth is the Lord and the fullness thereof. So everything in nature belongs to the Creator who created nature and also created us, and therefore he desires, or she or it desires for us to also have wealth. Let's also look at other scriptures that talk about wealth. So that was Genesis. Let's look at another Genesis scripture. Let's look at Genesis 24 and 35.
Good.
And the Lord has greatly blessed my master, and he is become great, and he hath given him flocks, herds, silver, and gold, and manservants and maidservants, and camels, and asses, or donkeys. So, if God did not want us to have wealth, why would he have given wealth to those people in the Bible who he called his children? God has blessed the master greatly, is what this person is saying in Genesis 24. And he's become great because he has flocks and herds, silver and gold. Family, stop telling your consciousness and other people, I cannot afford silver and gold. Yes, you can. Instead of saying, I cannot, ask yourself, how can I? And I'm going to tell you how you can very, very shortly. It's all about perception. It's all about realizing that you can have the abundance that God has put on the earth. The scripture says the earth is the Lord's and the fullness thereof, right? So everything belongs to the Creator, which therefore belongs to us. Because when we were created, God said He has given us dominion. That means power and authority of everything that's in the land. But the elite don't want you to know that. The elite desires for you to say, I'm poor, I can't afford it, it's not in my budget, I don't know how to do it, it doesn't matter to me. Yes, if you desire to leave an inheritance for your posterity or your children's children, then my darling, you need to acquire wealth as you can and as you are able to afford it. Let's look at another scripture in Haggai. This is how the biblical text gauges wealth, how God of the Bible gauges wealth. Haggai 2:8. Silver is mine, and the gold is mine, saith the Lord Almighty. The glory of this present house will be greater than the glory of the former house, saith the Lord Almighty. And in this place I will grant peace, declare the Lord God Almighty. You who are made in the image of God, you have power, you have dominion, and you have every right to abundance because the Creator has abundance. The silver is mine and the gold is mine, declares the Lord. And everything that you are about to receive in the future and in the now is far greater than what you ever imagined before. Thus saith God, and thus saith prophetess Dr. Kia Pruitt, the servant of the Most High God. 5 ideas de trabajo remoto sencillos que puedes hacer de noche. 1. Ver videos.
Oh, okay, that was it. I'm going to keep the camera off because I'm eating my pizza for the family tonight. It's a pizza night. But I just really wanted to focus in on what you were talking about. And her name is Dr. Kia. You can find her on YouTube. And excuse me, I'm kind of smacking it. But yeah, hey, brother Donald, what's going on, man? So what she's talking about is manifesting what you want. Right now, Burkina Faso, I think, or Faso, what I have is there, along with Mali and Niger. They just came out with their own car. Not only that, Africa has a car that is 1,000 times better than Tesla. You don't have to recharge anything. Ain't that a bit? So as we reveal the heavens and the earth shall sing glory to God, glory to knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. When we have that foundational understanding, then all things will come to pass because we are in control. You just heard it. We have dominion over the earth. Africa is not broke. We're not broke. But what we're broke about is unity. And as soon as we unify, start getting the whiff of that liberty, economic liberty, and political liberty, as did Angola against their previous colonizer, Portugal. Now you got to remember, Portugal was a black country as well as Spain and every other place. We're going to get into King Louis XIV and what he did that made Great Britain great. It wasn't white folk, all right? It wasn't white people. These people were our slaves or serfs. Now you want to call it slave or serf, slave is still the same shit. But what she's talking about is very real and very true. Um, we are manifesting things into existence all the time. And when we are seeing these countries on the continent of Africa cooperating against our bitter enemy, not only within, but without the continent of Africa, we begin to see our true power, and we begin to grow within that boundaries. Kaya Talboka, within the boundaries of our ancestors that put us in this situation to bless us. So hold on. Oh. So now we're at a position, economically speaking, politically speaking, to do the exact same thing that Angola did with um, Portugal. They took over Portugal, changed the law that benefited them, and now the citizens of Angola are using Portugal as its playground. They can come and go and do what the fuck they please and cut out white folks and beat the shit out of them, and not gonna happen because now they have the political they have the political um, willpower. What word am I looking for? They have the political. God, what's the name of that? It's a very good word. They have the political power to speak on an economic level, but that's not the word I'm looking for. To bring into effect those things that would benefit them as a nation. And this is what I wrote to um, uh, President Traore in regard to doing the same thing with France. France is broke, and all you got to do is buy up all of the debt and call it a day. I don't give a fuck if they calling you a nigga, jigger, jungle funky. Give the fuck. As long as the citizens of Mali, uh, Niger, and Burkina Faso can go there, relax, and come on back home and kick all the white ass out that motherfucker. The same as Angola did. And this is where we need to be. Fuck all your feelings, fuck all your emotions, fuck trying to get along with these fucking animals. And that's exactly what the fuck they are. And who cares? And so, with that, I think we get the idea behind what is going on in the world. And like Dr. K was saying, that money is coming. Nestara is here. The National Economic Security and Reformation Act, what it's called, and the global one, it's called the Global Economic Security and Reformation Act. And Brother Donald, I got your video up on the queue too. I think it's the last one that you had sent me. But I appreciate you for that one. And I really wanted to close it out on something that was powerful. But let's see. So we're going to go to the next one, and we're not going to be long for tonight. But I really took the time, I hope, to find all of these videos that really prove my point. And I'm not one to just go along just to try to do a little bit of something and then try to make something out of a little bit of something. It just doesn't work that way. I like being thorough. I like being complete. I like being factual. I don't give a damn about my feelings and emotions or anybody else's feelings and emotions. What I care about is facts. We must become more and more and more like our ancestors. Period. So let me go on here and take a look at this. This is what I found on Facebook. I'll put it down on everybody that's listening. That these people that we think are white are not white. Achilles, Roman soldier, the Margaret of Anjou, Margaret of Anjou, the Holy Crown. Friar Tuck, Robin Hood was black as well. Guinevere, the modern series, and the Victorian soldier. So all of these things that are covered up that are keeping you from being who you are and what you are and why you are have now and forever will be um, in the sunlight. There are three things you cannot hide forever: the sun, the moon, and the truth. And I'll be damned if I'm going to spit on the grave and on the name of our ancestors, like this man here, Louis XIV, the swarthy Sun King. These motherfuckers stole our titles, our crowns, our money, our land. And the only way we're going to get it back is they beat the fuck out of them. That's it. Beat the fuck out of them economically, politically, spiritually, and if necessary, kill a fucking ass. Or beat them, damn near after that, until they wish they were dead, all right? So that's how we roll. And I want you to understand and to see what this man, Louis XIV, said about how he ruled. He ruled with a fucking iron hand. And after his death, of a 72-year rule, Great Britain went down the drain. So you know what happened. So hold on, I'm gonna finish reading, finish eating. Oh, that's my little boy, that Jacob. Finish eating my little pizza, and then I'll be right back.
Louis the 14th, the swarthy son, king, and his enduring legacy. Louis the 14th, the Sun King, is often celebrated as the most powerful monarch in French history. His reign lasted 72 years, the longest of any European king, shaping France into the cultural, military, and political powerhouse of its time. But there is a part of his story that remains largely ignored, one that challenges traditional portrayals. Historical records repeatedly describe Louis XIV as swarthy, dark-skinned, even Moorish in appearance. Could this be another case of history being rewritten to fit a particular narrative? And beyond his appearance, what lessons can we learn from his reign? Let's uncover the truth behind the real Louis XIV and the legacy he left behind. Louis XIV was born in 1638 into the powerful Bourbon dynasty. He took the throne as a child and ruled with absolute authority, centralizing power in France like no other monarch before him. Under his rule, France became the dominant force in Europe, known for its military prowess, economic strength, and the grandeur of the Palace of Versailles. But let's focus on something that history books often gloss over: his physical appearance. Multiple historical sources describe him in a way that doesn't align with the common artistic depictions we see today. Duc de Saint-Simon, a French courtier and historian, wrote, "The king was a rather tall, well-built man with a very swarthy complexion." Lady Henrietta Wentworth, an English noblewoman, remarked, "His skin is as swarthy as that of a Moor." Baron de Montesquieu, a famous French philosopher, observed, "Louis XIV had a very brown complexion, quite unlike his fair-skinned courtiers." Even Jean-Baptiste Colbert, his own Minister of Finance, noted, "His Majesty's swarthy skin and dark hair give him a striking presence among the fair nobles of France." And finally, Madame de Sévigné, a respected noblewoman, wrote, "The king, so very brown in complexion, shines like Apollo, but darker." These are first-hand accounts, written by people who knew or saw Louis XIV directly. And yet, many official portraits depict him with pale skin, powdered wigs, and European features that don't match these descriptions. Why does this matter? Because it highlights how history is often rewritten to fit dominant narratives. The idea of a dark-skinned or swarthy ruler of France may have been inconvenient for later historians, leading to a whitewashed version of Louis XIV that persists today. But beyond his appearance, Louis XIV's strategic genius and leadership offer powerful lessons that remain relevant today. The power of perception and branding. Louis XIV knew that image is everything. He branded himself as the Sun King, associating his rule with divine authority, stability, and strength. His grip on public perception was so strong that his image still defines absolute monarchy to this day. Lesson: control your own narrative before others define it for you. Centralization of power.
Did you guys hear that? Control your own narrative. We're not in control of our narrative.
Unwavering leadership. Before Louis XIV, France was politically fragmented, ruled by regional nobles who often challenged the king's authority. Louis changed that. He centralized power, weakened the nobility, and made Versailles the center of government, ensuring that he, and he alone, controlled France. Lesson: a strong leader must consolidate power, set clear directives, and eliminate internal threats to remain dominant. Cultural and economic dominance.
You guys hear that? Complete control. If this man wasn't a true Machiavellian, I don't know what is. He understood politics. He understood keep your friends close, but your enemies closer. This is what I love about our ancestor Louis the 14th. Now, if he was black, his mama was black, his daddy was black, going all the way back to the first king of England, uh, Eston, I forget the name. But you gotta understand, we ran this motherfucker with an iron hand. We're not some bum and shit like these motherfuckers who think they run this world. They really don't. I'll continue.
Louis XIV understood that power wasn't just about war and politics. Culture was a weapon, too. He elevated French art, music, and fashion, making France the cultural capital of Europe. The French language replaced Latin in diplomacy, and Versailles became the model for all European royal courts. Lesson? True power extends beyond military and money. It's about influence. Control culture, and you control the future. Legacy, and the importance of longevity. Louis XIV ruled for 72 years. His ability to outlast his enemies, adapt to political changes, and maintain authority over decades ensured that his legacy remained untouchable. His successors, however, failed to maintain the system he built, leading to the downfall of the monarchy. Lesson?
You hear that? They failed to continue what he started and how he started it, and what he did to maintain control. And look at where Great Britain and France are right now.
Endurance, adaptability, and the ability to maintain power over time determine real success. Louis XIV was more than just a king. He was an empire builder, a strategist, and a master of perception. His rule transformed France and set the standard for monarchy across Europe.
Hold on. But a car going by.
Question remains. Why has history erased descriptions of his swarthy appearance? Was it a deliberate effort to reshape the image of European royalty? And if so, what else has been rewritten? One thing is clear. History belongs to those who question it. So, what do you think? Was Louis XIV's actual appearance erased from history? And what lessons do you take from his reign? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And remember, truth is power.
There it is. Now, I doubt that's actually him. I mean, as far as his facial features and all that, but the color of this man, of his wife, the queen, and of his predecessors and his forebears were black people. We fought to try to get back our black supremacy and our black superiority up until about 1880, you guys. And it is so very important to understand history, because if you just fucking ask out, what's up, Brother Willie? I really appreciate you coming on and watching. You got to understand that we were fighting to get our power back, our crown back, our land back, but it was to no avail up until about 1880, somewhere around there. And without going into further detail about what happened. But if you've been following me, and if you've been looking at, let me see, looking at my book, The White Man's Burden of Lies and Deceit 2, Understanding White Supremacy. Hold on, let me try to get that back. Hold on. Understanding White Supremacy, you will find and understand exactly what white supremacy is all about. White supremacy and white superiority is nothing but an overreaction to black oppression. And here's the book, the first one, dealing with these tail-growing uh, knucklehead, um, the white man's burden of lies and deceit, um, which is like 1,000 pages. The other book is like 800 pages. So you get in damn near 2,000 pages of crammed in fully factual, truthful history, more so than any book that's ever out there. And when you get done reading it, you're gonna feel a lot better and have a better understanding and uh, better understanding and comprehension, comprehension, comprehension. Uh, so, it was let's show this one. So you can see Abraham Lincoln not only freed prisoner of war slaves, but also white folks. They're the principal ones that were with the slaves in America, not you. So we're going to get to that in a minute. Let's see what this next one is. Okay, so I did the Louis the 14th. So now we're going to go to the next one. Fear can't stay where faith is. Discouragement can't stay where hope is. Stress can't stay where peace is. Mediocrity can't stay where greatness is. We are a great people coming from a great source and resource of our ancestors who did it all. These motherfuckers call themselves Latino, parity, Latinos and all of this and that and the other. Man, fuck them. Mind your own business. Sit black. Not sit back, but sit black. Pay attention to your own shit. And you will find that all these fucking flies that's flying around trying to distract us from where we need to be, the Latino, the Arabs, I don't give a fuck who else it is. They go away because now you are concentrating on you. Period. Just that simple. The problem with us is that we're not unified politically or economically. We were politically and economically unified after slavery. We took off. And then white folk got mad and upset and jealous and started uh, uh, destroying what we built, Black Wall Street and all that, during the 30s, 40s, and 50s before the Civil Rights Movement with that coon-ass nigga, Martin Luther King, all right, destroyed all of our progress. We had our own homes. We had our own businesses. We had our own insurance company. We had our own hospital and everything else that's a part of the society in which we live. The police station or the policeman, the police authority, the politicians, or what have you. We had it all. And here come Coonan ass goddamn Martin Luther King. Fucked it up and fucked us up. We don't need to fucking integrate and trying to get into restaurants and stores where white folks are because they like, is the white man's ice colder? Is the white man's ice colder? They fucking food ain't better because it's unseasoned chicken and no salt and pepper on the rice. So you know we're good together. I have no doubt about that. So I brought this up to get you guys' reaction, publicly speaking, in the comments. What do you think about this picture? Does this pic make you uncomfortable? It should. So should being unwilling to hold the people who we hold in the spotlight accountable for not only how they portray us by proxy, but also for their own debauchery. Every time Obama drops a drone on innocence, remember this pic. Next time you see a rapper in leggings kiss another grown man in the mouth, think of this image. If the image, if the only time you comment on BIP is to defend the dominant paradigm or some foolishness, you don't imagine this pic. Give yourself a pat on the back for the open. I don't know what the hell that is. This is you in the pic. But like I said, we're dealing with people who are not who they are, not who they say they are. And I say that with all earnestness. That's what I wanted. I was looking for political capital, economic capital for what I was talking about before. But these people are not who they say they are. They're not human. They're not white. They're not black. They're not Caucasian. They're not Arab. They're not Anglo-Saxon. None of that. European either. And so they're blowing smoke up our ass and making us believe and feel odd and out of place. And this is the reason why they have some kind of control, a spell over us, because they are in control of that narrative of making themselves out to be more than what they are. And we fall for it when we shouldn't be falling for it, because if you understood your history and who these people are and were and forever will be, then you'll see through all this. The smoke goes away, you pull back the curtain, and you see this little bitch of a fucking man just standing there. I'm sorry, Daddy. I didn't mean it. I'm sorry. Billy Bob, something. Yeah, come on, man. Y'all got to wake up. You got to wake up. You got to wake up. This is not hard to see. All right. So, and then this is the one. This is the one that got me. You see this white guy and the Bushman, I guess that's what they call. Now I want you to pay attention to what this is saying. Even the African knew they have a sickness. In the Lost World of the Kalahari, Lawrence Vanderpool writes about living among the Aboriginal men of the Kalahari Desert and describes how shocked they were that he could not hear the stars. Hear the stars? I can hear a fly probably passing by or the wind blowing, but the stars? At first they thought he might be joking or lying. When they realized he really couldn't hear the stars, they concluded he might be very ill and expressed great sorrow. For the Bushmen knew anyone who can't hear nature must have the gravest sickness of all. And they do. They will never respect nature, human nature and other nature. It is not within them to do so. They are savages, they are wild men, and they have the propensity to do all of the most wildest shit and depraved shit that you can ever imagine. All right? So we're going to go along and knock these out. Now, what I want you to do is to listen to this brother, and I'll be right back.
Hey, good morning. Here's a moment in white history. Have you ever wondered how we found out the proper amount of vitamins, nutrients, minerals, or calories we needed to consume in a day in order to survive? You can thank Dr. Lionel Bradley,
Oh, hold on.
who found out exactly what it took to keep the human body alive by starving native children to death. The experiments were performed by the Department of Indian Affairs of Canada under the direction of two physicians. One, Dr. Percy Moore, the Indian Affairs Branch Superintendent of Medical Services, and Dr. Frederick Tisdale, a famed nutritionist and former president of the Canadian Pediatric Society. The First Nations nutrition experiments, as they were called, were a series of experiments run in Canada by the Department of Pensions and National Health, now known as Health Canada, in the 1940s and 50s. At the lowest estimates, these experiments were conducted on at least 1,300 Indigenous people, with at least 1,000 of them being children. In these experiments, parents were not informed, nor was their consent given. In the 1940s, Canadian officials became aware that Native children in these residential schools were malnourished. So the Canadian government did research to figure out why these Indigenous children were malnourished. Meanwhile, this evil bastard wanted to know what the recommended intake for different vitamins and minerals should be. He saw the hunger and malnutrition at residential schools as an opportunity to figure out just what the human body needed to survive. So in 1947, he began conducting experiments on about 1,000 children in 6 residential schools across the country. Instead of giving these innocent children food to treat their malnutrition, he gave them supplements like riboflavin and thiamine to see if it would mitigate these problems. It did not. In another experiment, instead of giving these innocent children food to eat, he gave them pieces of enriched bread, thinking that that would improve their malnutrition. It did not. They became anemic and they died. Even though indigenous children were dying, they still continued these experiments. Most of these innocent children were so malnourished that their teeth would fall out, but they wouldn't take them to a dentist because they wanted to see the effects of malnutrition on gum health.
Now that, I'm sorry, but that reminds me of the Tuskegee Institute experiment. Let's continue.
Over 1,000 indigenous children were starved to death in these residential schools, and the experiments kept going. Why? Because they were already marginalized and vulnerable. Nobody was looking out for the best interest of these children. They had no voice and no one to advocate for their best interest. It's because of the starvation and deaths of innocent indigenous children that we now know exactly how many calories, vitamins, nutrients, and minerals the human body needs to stay alive. And that's how the death. Hey, good morning. Here's a moment in white history.
So we have that. And you know what? I'm just at a loss because this was the first time I ever heard about this. And it go to the depraved, sick, psychopathic nature of this beast we call white people. All right, so now we're gonna go to the theory. What am I trying to say? The DEI hypothesis, I guess, or in the workplace and what that means, and in respect to black people. All right, so let me play this one, and then I'm gonna get up out of that, out of the what do you call it? The screen, the share screen. But I'll be right back.
Boy as opposed to waiter, and they said, well, just we'd feel more comfortable if you would do that. I eventually got that job, and I stayed there for about a month, and I learned why, because the waiter jobs were exclusively held by whites. The busboy jobs were exclusively held by Hispanics. I was the only black in the club. The name of the dormitory at the club was called the Monkey House, and people kept saying, Lawrence, you can live in the Monkey House. And I said, well, why is it called the Monkey House? And they said, well, all these jobs used to be held by black people, and since they all lived in the building, we just naturally called it the Monkey House. And what was surprising was not the response of the members. I mean, a group of women, ladies we have to call them, at the club, complimented me on my diction. They said, you have the diction of an educated white man. And she stood there waiting for me to say thank you, because in her minds, that was not a bigoted thing to say. And it was sort of like the conversations you were having here about the danger of passive racism, because I think that's what we're all exposing.
Because everybody thinks it's a Klan with the cross on the line.
Not the Klan. They're not the dangerous people. The dangerous people are these club members and other people who belong to organizations and institutions that discriminate and who run our companies, who are in our governments, the Newt Gingriches, the Dick Armeys who claim, when they say fag, they meant to say Barney Frank. The people like that who really show this egregious racism, yet Monday through Friday they claim that they can fairly evaluate us in the office on a colorblind, gender-blind, religious-blind basis, when in fact they are bigots. And what I think all of us have done is really to...
Hold on. My mistake.
Well, I said, well, why a busboy as opposed to waiter? And they said, well, just we'd feel more comfortable if you would do that. I eventually got that job, and I stayed there for about a month. And I learned why, because the waiter jobs were exclusively held by whites. The busboy jobs were exclusively held by Hispanics. I was the only black in the club. The name of the dormitory at the club was called the Monkey House. And people kept saying, Lawrence, you can live in the Monkey House. And I said, why is it called the Monkey House? And they said, well, all these jobs used to be held by black people, and since they all lived in the building, we just naturally called it the Monkey House. And what was surprising was not the response of the members. I mean, a group of women, or ladies, we have to call them, at the club, complimented me on my diction. They said, you have the diction of an educated white man. And she stood there waiting for me to say thank you, because in her mind, that was not a bigoted thing to say. And it was sort of like the conversations you were having here about the danger of passive racism, because I think that's what we're all exposing.
Because everybody thinks it's the Klan with the cross on the
not
line.
the Klan. They're not the dangerous people. The dangerous people are these club members and other people who belong to organizations and institutions that discriminate and who run our companies, who are in our governments, the Newt Gingriches, the Dick Armeys, who claim, when they say fag, they meant to say Barney Frank. The people like that who really show this egregious racism, yet Monday through Friday they claim that they can fairly evaluate us in the office on a colorblind, gender-blind, religious-blind basis, when in fact they are bigots. And what I think all of us have done is really to open that up and show that the discrimination is more than just a cross burning. And the end to myself, I said, why a busboy as opposed to a waiter? And they said, we feel more comfortable if you would do that. I eventually got that job, and I stayed there for about a month. And I learned why, because the waiter jobs were exclusively held by whites. The busboy jobs were exclusively held by Hispanics. I was the only black in the club. The name of the dormitory at the club
okay. So
was
that's a
called
wrap.
the
That's
Monkey
a wrap.
House. And people kept saying,
Hold on. Hold on. I gotta take my pill. So I'm sorry about that. I had it replayed again, but I had touched it. Something had switched to another one, so I apologize for that. But let me get out of this share screen before we go into the next video. But yeah, I really want to, like I always do, like Brother Muhammad does, Brother Maurice, and Sister Cassie do every Sunday. It to really spell out what we are dealing with and what we are confronted with. As in that last video, the white woman told the guy, well, you have perfect diction like an educated white person, a white man, a white person. That's about the dumbest shit ever. These motherfuckers just started speaking 1,000 years ago. Anything and everything they got from us. They got our name. They got the name from us. Not no slave name like, a lot of Muslims in particular put X at the end because they don't want to say. That's not a slave name. That was a black European name. Period. Stop giving these motherfuckers respect. They've earned all of the disrespect that we can give them and a billion times more. These motherfuckers didn't even know how to take a bath, let alone wipe their ass. Can you imagine the stench on these motherfuckers? They're worthless, senseless, and have no base in reality. They're living a life of lies and deceit. They are truly delusional people. I make no bones about that. I make nothing up about that. I'm being straight the fuck forward because that's all I can do. I'm speaking from the position of our ancestors. Fuck all white folk, man. They're lying, scheming, conniving motherfuckers. They're not being held accountable. If they were being held accountable, 99.9% of the people in jail would be white. And we're going to cover that too, because we got one particular, I think I got it, one particular white boy in a Virgin Islands or whatever. He damn near drowned this young black guy. I got there with a couple of them. And he got away. The black judge who want to be white let him walk with less than a slap on the hand. 72 hours of community service and no criminal record. You know what I mean? They do all these heinous shit but there's no accountability within the court system. But I digress. You know what I mean? So let me go back to the share screen, and we can get it popping again. And then we don't have too much to do for today, but just want to make sure I do the best job always and possible. And this one deals with Dr. King and what really got him killed. Please pay attention and listen. About a minute, 2.5 minutes long.
Man, get in here. Hey, you wanna know how you can play? Did you know they updated your Indian status? So-called African Americans? And before you said, oh, the 1968 Indian Civil Rights Bill Act, read this.
You hear that fucking shit? I'm tired of you niggas talking about, well, we got our rights in the 1960s. No, motherfucker. Wake your ass up. Stop believing what white folks tell you and stop believing what the go along niggas telling you. They're the bougie motherfuckers who trying to get along to get whatever butter biscuits that they can get from the white man table. The white man table ain't got no goddamn table. It's an imaginary table you got. And you can win against every motherfucking thing that they've ever done and are continue to do with the Civil Rights Act of 1865. That is the law of the land. This bullshit one in the 1960s, no. It's like taking a gallon of milk and throwing it into to a lake and thinking you can eat some cereal out that motherfucker. It just disappears. It has no power. It has no force. All right. So let me start this again, and then I'll let it play all the way out.
Man, get in here. Hey, you wanna know how you can play? Did you know they updated your Indian status? So-called African Americans? And before you said, oh, the 1968 Indian Civil Rights Bill Act, read this. But I'm going to show you receipts. Now, in order for them to update it in 2022, Indians had to sit on one side, which is so-called African Americans, and the United States government had to sit on the other side to update the bill. But before I continue, if you'd like to donate $1, I greatly appreciate it. But let's continue. Now, if you look on page 1 of the Civil Rights Act of 1968, they updated it March the 15th, 2022. But I don't like it. Because if you even read the first page, we're going to beat you up, we're going to unalive you, we're going to lock you up. And I'm about to play a video on why they unalived Dr. Martin Luther King. But as you can see, page 2, the rights of Indians, and you see it, Indians. But play the video, and let me show you what Dr. Martin Luther King said a week before his assassination.
America strays away from the ideals of justice. The goal of America is freedom, used and scorned as though we may be. Our destiny is tied up in the destiny of America. Before the Pilgrim Fathers landed Plymouth, we were here. Before Jefferson etched across the pages of history the majestic words of the Declaration of Independence, we were here.
We were here. Pay the fuck attention. We are the Indians of this motherfucker.
Before the beautiful words of the Star-Spangled Banner were written, we were here.
In other words, he was telling you we was already here. And then they ain't like that talk. Bang. Then they hide the secret agents. We would like to be called African American. See how that works? If you'd like to donate $1, I greatly appreciate it. Bring you more to come.
All right, now I don't know how many times I gotta keep saying it over and over and over again. I've been saying that for years now on Brother Maurice's show, and now on my show. But you got to know your history, guys. History determines how you walk, how you talk, what you see, what you feel. And when you become emboldened with truth, because truth doesn't have to defend itself like a lie. It would stand by itself and defend itself because it would tear the hole out the ass of every motherfucker that is lying. All right? Let's see here. Now, this is the black depositor put the equivalent of $70 million of their hard-earned money in it. The bank white leadership stole the money. See how white folks, they can't deal with us. We will outdo them motherfuckers every goddamn time. They think they got us in. They think they got us down and out, but we like seeds, motherfucker. We're coming up. The more you think you're getting rid of us, the more we will multiply. And that's some real shit. So let me play this.
American freedom history, we should all know. Did you know that Black Americans placed billions of dollars in saved money in the Freedmen's Bank after slavery and experienced one of the biggest robberies of our black dollars in history because of it? Now, after slavery, Black American freedmen were promised 40 acres and a mule for their economic dependence, but never got it. Whites substituted the land that our ancestors were due with a bank in which they could save and build wealth for themselves. Now, Black Americans began putting the little they had in the bank, but as soon as they did, white President Henry Cook began stealing the hard-earned money of our ancestors by gambling, investing in railroad bonds, and even presenting numerous loans to his friends and family. He would steal so much that he would eventually bring the bank into a state of destitution. Black American freedom history, we should all know. Did you know that Black...
All right. Little by little. Little by little. This one is important, you guys, because like I've been saying, like Brother Marie's been saying, and Sister Cassie, that these motherfuckers are killing us. Not just black folk, but everybody. Pay attention. Meanwhile, in South Carolina, on February 3rd, 2025, people, this is 5 days ago, people are very, very violently ill. It's been tested by the independent laboratory in Naples, Florida, and it's full of parasites and bacteria. U.S. residents have taken to social media again, claiming the mystery fog is back and people are getting sick post-exposure again. They could be correct, or it could be indeed just be fog and rain. No, motherfucker. That shit, when it falls into plain old water, it's coagulating like it's being drawn one to the other. But I'll play this and you make up your own mind.
Guys, see the fog? Those are parasites and bacteria. This is biological warfare. This is Nuremberg stuff right here. This is Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, and it's February 2025. And this is being sprayed on us in the dark of night. Right here. It's been tested by an independent lab out of Naples, Florida, and it's full of parasites and bacteria. And this could very well be why all the TB cases are coming up in, and people are very, very violently ill. And we're being genocided. I also want to let you know.
Now, let me read this. Thank you. Like I stated days ago, the chemical fog is saturated with trillions of parasites. Well, Serratia mercescens bacteria are parasites, bacteriophages, and pathogens. So now you have it. You have it, friends. Okay. They dump millions of tons of biological warfare on us again. Samples of testing from the fog taken in Naples, Florida. The test results indicate the fog contains Serratia mercescens bacteria, MD Nago, or whatever the hell it is. But you get the point. Let's continue.
That God has led me to a company that has released something completely natural that cleanses the blood of all of this. Parasites, virus, bacteria, and it's quantum. Goes right under the tongue, cleanses the blood. I'm starting it next week. If you want to start it with me, we can fight back and we can save ourselves from this. This makes me so sad. Really.
Oh boy! Now this is this is our ancestor, Malcolm X. He's gonna tell it straight up with no filter. Uh, so I don't know. It's a couple of minutes long, so I'm gonna let it play. Hold on. We're running it down now in regard to what what I want to present. So hold on. Hold on. Get back to the comment. So okay. Hold on. So let's get to the one with Malcolm X, and I will be right back.
Immigrants can come to this country 50 years ago with nickels and dimes and no education, and come here and pool their little nickels and dimes and no education, and put up little stores, develop these stores into larger stores, develop this into an industry, which creates job opportunities for whites. Since Lincoln was supposed to have freed the black man 100 years ago, and today the black man, according to the government economist, has spending power of $20 billion per year. We feel that with the black man spending $20 billion a year, not setting up any business, not creating any industry, not creating any job opportunities for his own kind, he's not in a moral position to point the finger today at the white man and tell the white man that he's discriminating against him for not giving him a job in factories that he himself set up. If the black man has $20 billion, and these so-called Negro leaders are such geniuses that they can integrate white restaurants and integrate white factories and force themselves into that which the white man has set up, they should use this same ingenuity to show the black people how to pool our wealth and set up something of our own. And then we won't have to force our way into this anymore. One more thing I would like to point out concerning what it says about 125th Street. We don't waste our time on 125th Street, but you can reach more people in the street who want to change than you can in the bourgeoisie society, the bourgeoisie church, and the bourgeoisie circles. Our program is directed toward the man in the street. So we spend our time in the street, and what we do with that man, instead of trying to change the white man in your mind, make you accept us, we change the mind of the black man and make him accept himself. And as soon as he accepts himself, he'll solve his own problems. He won't be trying to force himself into your factory and into your bedroom and into your kitchen.
That's our ancestor.
It's white immigrants.
So we got 1, 2, 3, 4. We got 5 more after this one. So I'm hoping you guys are really understanding what I'm getting at here. We need to turn within and stop looking outward. The solution is within us, not outside of us. Fuck white folks, you know goddamn well they're gonna lie, scheme, connive, and try to twist and turn and twist and cover up the truth about who you are and what they really are. They're not gonna tell you we civilized these motherfuckers 3 times. They're not gonna tell you that we put them on the auction block and separated their motherfucking family. This is where they get the shit from. They're not gonna tell you we took them target practices and turning their skin or taking the skin off their back and turning it into book cover. That's what the King James Bible is made out of. Their skin and everything else. We had no respect for these motherfuckers at all, guys. At all. And I have no respect for them. At all. They're not human, they're not white, they're not Caucasian. They just bleed out the worst niggas on the planet. Troglodyte niggas. And as soon as you can come to that conclusion, the better you'll be able to see them for what they really are The nasty, dirty, disgusting motherfuckers who don't take baths, who allow their kid to go and go and go and go without taking days without taking a bath. They're having sex with sex dolls and shit in brothels throughout Europe and now in America. They have sex with each other, eating and drinking the piss and shit, vomiting it back up, and eating and drinking and having sex in that motherfucker again. These are the people. But they tricked the world into believing that they are the most sanctified people on the planet. Because why? Look at what King Louis XIV, our ancestors said. Get control of your narrative. They are control of their narrative. Do you think they're going to really put a picture of a white men and women with tails? That would just crush their pristine image that they spend hundreds of billions, if not trillions of dollars on every year. So let's continue, and I'll be right back. This is a minute and a half long.
Grandmother is 104 years old today. She's alive today. Not my great grandmother. Let me break that down again. My grandmother is 104 years old, still alive with us today. She was born 7 years after Harriet Tubman died. 7 years. That mentality. Listen to the connection I'm about to make to you. The people who were alive in that era, and still in the era of my grandmother, who is still with us today, still have the mentality that black people should be enslaved, that black people shouldn't have the right to vote, that black people, in order to vote, should be reading how many damn jelly beans are inside of a jelly jar. That ideology never died. It just became covert. It was overt, meaning it was in our faces. People were being lynched. People were being attacked. 1965, the Civil Rights Act was passed. It just moved everything from in front of your face to behind closed doors. And they have kids. And those kids have kids. And those kids are part of Gen X, Millennials, and Gen Z. That mentality never died. There's a human connection and a human praxis. And those people that are those Millennials, Gen X, those people are your lawyers, are your judges, are your teachers, are your nurses, are your doctors, are your librarians, are your congresspeople. That's what that is.
Now, don't think that, you see white folks with hoods on, that's it. These KKKers, or white folks who don't like niggas, are everywhere. Just don't think that you got white folks all up in your face, smiling and grinning and skinning, that they don't mean no harm to you. There was a sister who went to a white friend's house. The next day, she was found dead, and nobody knew what happened. Nobody knew what happened. The police wasn't called. The FBI wasn't called. Everybody, I don't know what happened. That nigga, she just died. I don't know. At some point, my brothers and sisters, you gotta wake the fuck up. Your enemy is everywhere. Savoir-faire is everywhere. Now, this is very interesting. I found this out. I didn't even know it. It's been about a week since I found it. Wow, I had no idea the first paramedics in the United States were black. We created the shit. Yes, the first paramedics in the United States were black men who worked for the Freedom House Ambulance Service in Pittsburgh. The service was established in 1967 and staffed by black paramedics in the 1960s and 70s. How they became paramedics? The Freedom House Ambulance Service was a private-public partnership between the city of Pittsburgh and the Civil Rights Organization. The service was created to serve the predominantly black Hill District neighborhood. The paramedics were trained at Freedom House, an organization that originally delivered vegetables to black Americans. Dr. Peter Safer, a University of Pittsburgh anesthesiologist, provided training for the paramedics. Excuse me, you can't beat us. You can look at every motherfucking white paramedic and say it's because of us that you got a fucking job, bitch. You can look at the President of the United States, President Trump, and everybody in Congress and the Senate. You got them jobs because of us, bitch. We created this shit. You understand what I'm telling you? No ifs, ands, or buts about it in my mind. If y'all know a white motherfucker with a PhD wannabe, please let them know and have them to come on to my show or Brother Maurice's show. I'm going to embarrass the fuck out of him. I am going to clean the clock out of his fucking, I don't know what. No, none of these motherfuckers with PhDs in American history and world history can beat me. I'm just keeping that shit on 100. And I've written to the wannabe white scholars like Bill O'Reilly, who wrote over a dozen books, bestsellers, talking about how white folk did this and white folk did that. I ain't heard nothing from them, and along with dozens of other white motherfuckers who think they know something. I don't know. Nobody ain't beat. All right, now with this, it's 22 minutes long, and this is the longest one I got. But I got this one, African innovators shock Tesla, and they do not look like us. They just like our money and culture, and this one. So let me go on to Traore. Now to Traore, I'll get up out of the share screen and just talk a little bit, and then we'll be rounding it down. We got 3 more to go, and that won't take long. So let me play that, and I'll be right back.
Traore has been walking a tightrope ever since he took charge of Burkina Faso. Assassination attempts, secret plots, and backroom betrayals have been constant threats looming over his leadership. At the same time, he's been waging a tough battle against insurgents, determined to bring stability to the country. But his fight isn't just against armed rebels. There are hidden enemies within his own borders. For months, Traore has been on a mission to uncover spies and informants, operatives working in the shadows, backed by powerful Western nations trying to shake up Burkina Faso's government and remove him from power. But here's the problem. These traitors don't wear uniforms or carry weapons. They operate quietly, blending into society, making them incredibly hard to track. That's where Traore's brilliance comes in. Instead of chasing ghosts, he followed the money. He assembled a team of financial experts to dig deep into the bank records of former government officials. What they found was shocking. Certain individuals, some of them once powerful ministers and top-ranking generals, had been...
Hold on.
Excuse me, can you tell me where the train station is located? Receiving massive deposits in their accounts. The amounts were too large to ignore, and the sources, suspicious at best. The truth was finally out. Over 113 individuals had been secretly working against Burkina Faso's stability. Their network had been exposed, and now their bank accounts, completely frozen. But that's just the beginning. What happens next, and what does Traore plan to do with those he's uncovered? Ibrahim Traore has always put Burkina Faso first, often risking everything to keep the country safe. But recently, he's come to a critical realization. His survival isn't just about him. If he falls, so does the vision he's fighting for. History has already proven this. Thomas Sankara, the nation's revolutionary leader, was betrayed and assassinated by his own inner circle, with powerful foreign interests pulling the strings. Traore refuses to let history repeat itself. That's why, on November 19, 2024, something major happened. Burkina Faso's Minister of Economy, Dr. Abubakar Nakanabo, made a bombshell announcement, an executive order that sent shockwaves through the country. The decree targeted individuals and organizations suspected of funding insurgents, the same groups responsible for relentless attacks and assassination attempts against Traore. The ultimate goal? To create chaos, weaken the government, and pave the way for outside forces to seize control. Under Traore's leadership, the military-backed administration moved swiftly. They froze the assets of 113 individuals and 2 organizations, cutting off their financial lifelines. But the real shock came when the names on that list were revealed. It was a betrayal eerily similar to what Sankara faced, trusted insiders secretly working with foreign powers. Among them was a particularly explosive name, Lieutenant Colonel Paul-Henri Sandaogo Damiba. Damiba had taken control of Burkina Faso in early 2022 after toppling the elected president, Roch-Marc Christian Kabore. But in September of that same year, Traoré ousted him, forcing him into exile in Togo. Now, even in exile, Damiba isn't just watching from the sidelines. According to the government, he's been actively involved in plots to destabilize Burkina Faso, including a recently exposed plan to assassinate Traoré. Authorities claim Damiba has been leaking sensitive information to foreign intelligence agencies and insurgent groups, all with the aim of undermining Traoré's government. With the evidence stacking up, Burkina Faso is now in talks with Togo, pushing for Damiba's extradition. But whether he will actually be handed over to face justice.
Now, this is what I mean. When you find your fucking enemy, kill him. Internal enemy, external enemy. The external enemy are white French soldiers. Kill them. They're not coming to Burkina Faso or Mali or Niger to be friendly. And this motherfucker that they allowed to escape, not escape, but to go willingly to Togo? Are you fucking kidding me? I would have killed that motherfucker right where he stood. I would have shot him in his fucking head right then and there. No, sometimes you just gotta put fear in the heart of your enemy by keeping them close, but your enemy closer, your friend close, but your enemy closer. You don't know. It was a mistake that Traore allowed him to go to Togo, and now he's plotting. See, he wouldn't be plotting in the motherfucking grave. He'd just be right there, real cold as ice. Hold on.
That remains a burning question. The Burkinabe government's latest crackdown has sent shockwaves through the country. A sweeping decree has named several high-profile figures as key players in a shadowy network working to undermine Captain Ibrahim Traoré's leadership. These aren't just ordinary opposition members, they are former government officials, powerful military officers, and influential media figures accused of orchestrating a web of destabilization efforts. Among the most notable names on the list is General Djibril Bassolé, a seasoned political heavyweight who once served as Burkina Faso's foreign minister. His influence in both diplomatic and military circles has long made him a figure of interest, but now his alleged involvement in anti-government operations has put him in the spotlight for all the wrong reasons. Another name raising eyebrows is Alpha Barry, a journalist turned politician with deep connections in the media world. Authorities suspect his influence has been used to spread narratives that fuel division and unrest, subtly shaping public opinion against the current administration. Then there's Ahmed Kinder, a former Special Forces commander with a reputation for strategic military planning. He is now accused of using his expertise to orchestrate covert operations.
You see, this is what they did and what they are doing is treason against the state of Burkina Faso. Treason is punishable by death. Why did they not kill these motherfuckers?
Aimed at weakening Traoré's hold on power. Alongside him are dismissed military officers like Yves Didier Bamuni and Romeo Owoa, who allegedly played direct roles in plotting against the government. But this crackdown isn't just about individuals. Two major insurgent groups have also been named in the executive order. These organizations have been at the center of Burkina Faso's security crisis for nearly a decade, responsible for a wave of deadly attacks that have claimed over 26,000 lives since 2015. Shockingly, more than half of those casualties, over 13,500, have occurred since Traoré took office in September 2022. Beyond the loss of life, the insurgency has created a staggering humanitarian crisis. More than 2 million people have been displaced, entire villages have been wiped off the map, and critical infrastructure has been left in ruins. Despite the devastation, these groups have continued to operate without restraint, largely due to the steady flow of funds from their backers. Traoré's government is determined to choke off these financial pipelines. By freezing the assets of 113 individuals and multiple organizations, authorities are cutting off the very lifeblood that keeps these destabilized.
Okay.
Stabilization efforts alive without financial.
Hold on.
Support, these networks will struggle to function, making them far more vulnerable to the next phase of the government's plan, direct military action. Reports suggest that once these groups are financially crippled, Burkinabe special forces will be deployed in strategic covert operations to dismantle them completely. This move signals a shift from a defensive posture to an aggressive strategy aimed at taking down insurgent operations at their weakest points. At the same time, there's growing speculation about what will happen to the vast sums of money uncovered during these investigations. The frozen bank accounts of the accused individuals reportedly contain enormous amounts of wealth, funds that had been funneled in by foreign sponsors in exchange for loyalty. If redirected, this money could be used to strengthen Burkina Faso's military, providing long overdue resources for soldiers who have long been under-equipped. For years, the Burkinabe army has faced severe shortages. Soldiers lacked basic supplies, and civilians in conflict zones suffered from extreme poverty, some even resorting to eating leaves to survive. Traoré has been vocal in his criticism of the previous administration, blaming its failure to prioritise national defence for the country's deteriorating security. While leaders in the past turned a blind eye to the struggles of their people, his government is now taking bold steps to reverse that neglect. Beyond financial sanctions, the crackdown includes another major move: a travel ban on all 113 individuals named in the decree. This restriction prevents them from leaving the country while investigations continue, ensuring that they remain within reach of the law. Yet despite these decisive measures, significant challenges remain. One of the biggest questions is the fate of Paul-Henri Sandaogo Damiba, the former leader accused of being the mastermind behind ongoing destabilization efforts. Burkina Faso is now in negotiations with Togo, seeking his extradition, but whether those talks will lead to his return remains uncertain. In African politics, powerful figures often evade justice, using influence and foreign connections to shield themselves from accountability. But Traoré's administration appears determined to break that pattern. This is more than just a political purge. It's a full-scale effort to dismantle deeply entrenched systems of corruption, espionage, and external manipulation. And at the heart of it all, one looming question remains. Will Ibrahim Traoré be able to neutralize the biggest threat to his leadership before it's too late? Burkina Faso has uncovered a web of betrayal so deep it reaches beyond its borders. According to National Security Minister Mahamadou Sana, what seemed like an isolated coup attempt was actually a carefully orchestrated plot involving military officers, former officials, and even civilians. But it doesn't stop there. Foreign intelligence services and powerful figures within the country's economic and political sectors were also allegedly involved. Intelligence reports suggest that the masterminds behind this scheme weren't just operating from within Burkina Faso. Some of them had been working from neighbouring countries like Côte d'Ivoire, Ghana, and Nigeria, coordinating their efforts from a safe distance. Their goal? To unseat Captain Ibrahim Traoré and dismantle his administration. At the centre of it all is a name that many thought had faded from Burkina Faso's political scene: Paul-Henri Sandaogo Damiba, the former military ruler who was overthrown in
Hold on. Sorry.
2022 and has been living in exile in Togo ever since, is now being accused of leading this elaborate operation. Once seen as having stepped aside quietly, he is now suspected of pulling the strings behind the scenes. Authorities believe Damiba didn't act alone. He allegedly built an alliance with former ministers, journalists, and ex-parliamentarians, using their connections to spread propaganda, manipulate public opinion, and secure financial backing from both local and international sources. But what makes this situation even more dangerous is the alleged partnership with violent insurgent groups. These militant organizations, notorious for their brutal attacks across the Sahel region, were reportedly roped into the plan, given intelligence and resources to carry out deadly missions. Their role was clear: escalate chaos, target civilians, and attack key government sites to create widespread panic. Authorities have revealed that the conspirators had mapped out several high-profile targets. Among them were the presidential palace, a critical drone base, Ouagadougou airport, and a military installation in Mango Dara. The plan was simple but devastating: strike hard, sow fear, and weaken confidence in Traoré's government. But the plot wasn't just about military action. Investigators uncovered a sophisticated media strategy designed to shape public perception. The plan was to manipulate the surge in insurgent violence as proof of Traoré's inability to govern, pushing a narrative that would justify calls for his removal. With enough fear and instability.
Hold on.
The conspirators believed they could turn the people against their leader, pave the way for a power shift. The sheer scale and ruthlessness of this operation revealed just how far some individuals are willing to go to reclaim power. It wasn't just about politics. It was about control, influence, and a willingness to sacrifice lives to achieve a hidden agenda. Recent arrests in Niger have provided even more insight into the extent of this conspiracy. During interrogations, detained individuals revealed shocking details about the coordination, funding, and long-term objectives of the plot. This wasn't a last-minute coup attempt. It was months in the making, with each move carefully planned to ensure maximum impact. In response, the Burkinabe government has launched an aggressive counter-operation determined to dismantle every remaining piece of the conspiracy. Authorities have urged citizens to remain vigilant, calling on families of those involved to step forward with information. But Traoré has made one thing clear. This isn't just about preventing a coup. It's part of a much larger effort to restore stability, dismantle corruption, and hold every conspirator accountable. If you are still watching this video, it means you love it. Why not take out a second and hit that like button? Have you done that? Let us move on. For months, whispers of foreign interference in Burkina Faso's security crisis have been dismissed as speculation. But now, a much darker picture is coming into focus. One that suggests a deliberate effort to destabilize the country from within and beyond its borders. Both Mali and Burkina Faso have accused France of fueling insurgencies in the region, but new intelligence points to an even more calculated plan. According to emerging reports, the strategy wasn't just about creating chaos, it was about replacing Captain Ibrahim Traoré with someone more favorable to foreign interests. The blueprint was simple but devastating. Insurgent groups would be emboldened, supplied with resources, and encouraged to ramp up their attacks. The goal? To push Burkina Faso to the brink, overwhelming its government and making Traoré appear incapable of restoring order. As the situation spiraled out of control, the Burkinabe people would be desperate for stability. And then, right on cue, a familiar face would return, Paul-Henri Sandaogo Damiba. Damiba, the former military ruler who was overthrown in 2022, would be positioned as the country's saviour, stepping in to rescue Burkina Faso from the very chaos his backers had engineered. With foreign support, he would assume power once more, while the same forces that fueled the insurgency would suddenly withdraw, making it seem as though only Damiba had the ability to restore peace. Traoré understands the gravity of this situation. He knows that if this plot is allowed to play out, Burkina Faso will remain locked in a vicious cycle, one where external powers handpick its leadership and its people are left at the mercy of political games they never agreed to play. Traoré understands the gravity of this situation. He knows that if this plot is allowed to play out, Burkina Faso will remain locked in a vicious cycle, one where its leadership is handpicked by external powers, and its people are left at the mercy of political games they never agreed to play. To break this cycle, Traoré has set his sights on two critical objectives. First, he must deal with the insurgent threat head-on. His government is ramping up military operations, targeting the very groups that have been used as pawns in this geopolitical chess game. This isn't just about defeating armed factions, it's about protecting communities, reclaiming stability, and sending a clear message that Burkina Faso will not be controlled through fear. Second, Traoré knows that as long as Damiba remains free, the risk of another coup lingers. Extraditing him from Togo is not just about bringing him to justice, it's about cutting off a key player in this destabilization effort. If left unchecked, Damiba could continue working in the shadows, waiting for another opportunity to strike. Burkina Faso has seen this playbook before. In 1987, Thomas Sankara, the country's revolutionary leader, was assassinated in a coup orchestrated by Blaise Compaoré, his former ally. Compaoré went on to rule for 27 years, during which Burkina Faso's economy stagnated, its dependency on foreign powers deepened, and its people suffered. When Compaoré was finally removed from power, justice seemed within reach. But in 2016, Côte d'Ivoire's president, Alassane Ouattara, granted him Ivorian citizenship, shielding him from extradition. Although he was later sentenced to life in prison in absentia for his role in Sankara's murder, he continues to live freely in exile. Traoré refuses to let history repeat itself. Unlike Compaoré, Damiba will not be given the chance to escape accountability. His extradition is a direct challenge to the long-standing tradition.
Hold on.
Solo necesitas el nombre de tu proyecto para dar el primer paso. Registra el dominio perfecto y crea
Tradition of impunity that has allowed political figures to evade justice. This time, those responsible for destabilizing Burkina Faso will face the consequences of their actions. And now, the Burkinabe government is taking things a step further. The recent surge in treasonous activity has sparked a controversial debate. Should the death penalty be reinstated for crimes related to national security? Burkina Faso abolished capital punishment in 2018, but the military government is now reconsidering its stance, arguing that severe crimes require severe consequences. The decision is a reflection of the high stakes at play. Had the coup plot gone unnoticed, the consequences would have been devastating. The conspirators were not just planning a political maneuver, they were willing to use insurgent violence, attacks on civilians, and media manipulation to push their agenda forward. But now that the plot has been exposed, another question emerges. What will happen to those who were caught? The fate of Paul-Henri Damiba and his network of conspirators now rests in the hands of the Burkinabe justice system. And with the government determined to prevent any future attempts at destabilization, the outcome of this case could set a precedent for Burkina Faso's political future. The aftermath of the failed coup has created a turning point for Burkina Faso, one that even the conspirators never saw coming. Instead of toppling the government, their actions have only reinforced President Ibrahim Traoré's grip on power. What was meant to be a calculated move to unseat him has backfired spectacularly, exposing the very people who had been working in the shadows to destabilize the nation. Now, rather than dealing with a weakened administration, Burkina Faso is seeing the opposite. A leader emboldened by the failure of his enemies, determined to implement sweeping reforms that will leave no room for future betrayal. Those who once operated in secret, believing they were untouchable, are now scrambling to save themselves. For Paul-Henri Damiba, the consequences could not be more severe. Once a military ruler who seized power by force, he now finds himself accused of plotting to assassinate the very man who replaced him. His downfall is more than just a legal battle. It's a symbol of how quickly the tides of power can turn. Damiba's name, once associated with leadership, is now permanently tied to treachery and conspiracy. But there's another pressing concern. Will Togo protect him? In the past, African leaders accused of serious crimes have found refuge in neighbouring countries. Blaise Compaoré, for example, was granted Ivorian citizenship after being accused of orchestrating the assassination of Thomas Sankara. That move shielded him from extradition, allowing him to escape justice for decades. Could history repeat itself with Damiba? If Burkina Faso secures his extradition, the outcome will send a clear message not just within the country, but across the continent. It would prove that no leader, no matter how powerful, can escape accountability forever. The justice system is preparing to build a case that will serve as a warning to anyone who dares to sell out the country for personal gain or foreign interests. But Damiba isn't the only one facing judgment. The 113 others who were arrested will also undergo extensive legal proceedings. The government has made it clear that evidence will be thoroughly reviewed, and those found guilty of sedition or treason will face the consequences. Burkina Faso's penal code, shaped by law number 025-2018/AN, outlines severe punishments for crimes that threaten national security. While the law does not explicitly use the term sedition, it clearly defines offences such as treason, espionage, and attempts to overthrow the government. Historically, these crimes have led to long prison sentences, but now something even more controversial is being discussed. The death penalty, which was abolished in 2018, is being reconsidered. Given the scale of this conspiracy and its potential consequences, some within the government believe that Burkina Faso needs stronger deterrence against future betrayals. The debate is no longer just about punishing the guilty, it's about making an example of them. Because the real question remains, are there more traitors still lurking in the system? And if so, What kind of message should be sent to ensure that no one dares to follow in their footsteps? Burkina Faso is facing a moment of reckoning. With the recent coup plot exposed and over 100 conspirators in custody, the government is now grappling with one of the biggest questions in its history. How should those who betrayed the country be punished? For years, Burkina Faso has taken a firm stance against the death penalty, officially removing it from its legal system in 2018. But recent events have reignited the debate. Some argue that crimes as serious as plotting to overthrow the government and working with foreign powers to destabilize the nation demand the harshest possible consequences. Others believe justice should be served through long-term imprisonment, allowing the legal system to set an example without resorting to executions. At the heart of this debate is President Ibrahim Traoré. He has already made it clear that he will not tolerate internal threats that compromise Burkina Faso's stability. Many believe he is prepared to bring back capital punishment, using it as a deterrent against those who think they can conspire against the nation and get away with it. The 113 individuals arrested in connection with the plot, including former officials, military officers, and intelligence operatives, are now awaiting their fate. Each of them played a role in a conspiracy that could have led to national chaos. Should their punishment be severe enough to send a message? Or should Burkina Faso handle this differently, ensuring justice is served without crossing a moral line? And here's the bigger issue. If this plot was so widespread, could there be others still operating in secret? Are there more individuals still in positions of power, waiting for the right moment to strike? If that's the case, then the way these conspirators are dealt with determines whether future traitors are bold, terrified to act. Do you enjoy what Traoré is doing in his country? Let us know what you think in the comment section below.
How did white people mess up a 400-year head start?
Now this one, I'm gonna see how it flows, but I want to get through all of these other ones first. But this is the one, if you're here, Brother Muhammad, Marie, this is the one I was talking about previous, that white folks had a 400 or 500 year start. How the fuck are they fucking up? Okay, so, hold on. Okay, I don't think, well, this one is really short, but it's dealing with white folks' depravity, man. The, so it says Israel has admitted 28 Apache helicopters discharged their ammunition and had to be reloaded on October the 7th, some 2 years ago, when supposedly the Palestinians killed all of those people at the festival. All right, but it's been proven that the IDF and Israel were involved in those killings. And said the ex-Israeli war chief confirmed issuing the Hannibal directive to kill his own civilians and soldiers on October the 7th, some 2 years ago. Let me get rid of that one. This one, this system seems surreal. Politicians are merely pawns in what we believe to be a high position. They are chess pieces in the simulation or in the matrix. We call this the matrix. Nothing seems real. It's like being born but not remembering your first cry. How would you know what's real and what's not? Let's get that going.
Is it all real or is it all fake? How would you know what is real? And how would you know what is fake? That's the thing to keep our minds enslaved with the hearts, with fear. What if Is it all real?
And this is what we're facing. We talked about this on the show, on Brother Mercy's show a lot. That this is a matrix. It's not real. What is real is peace. What is real is prosperity. What is real is good over evil, right over wrong, justice over injustice. That's the real world in which we must live. If not, then we're bullshit. And the reason why we're continuing to do this is the sick, perverted, depraved white people. Let me do this one, then we're going to do the last one, and that'll be it for tonight. And then I'll be right back.
Unleash the power of knowledge and connect with the heartbeat of the African diaspora. Download our African Diaspora News Channel app now on Google Play and Apple App Store. Stay informed with authentic and diverse perspectives, breaking news, and cultural insights. Immerse yourself in a community that celebrates unity, resilience, and progress. Experience the vibrancy of the diaspora at your fingertips. Don't miss out. Empower your perspective today. Search African Diaspora News Channel and join the conversation.
Imagine creating something so powerful, so groundbreaking, that people want you dead for it. That's exactly what Zimbabwean inventor Maxwell Chikumbutso says happened to him after he developed a self-powering car, yes. A car that runs without fuel, petrol, gas, or even a charging station. That's amazing. I'm Ife Igwe. This is the African Diaspora News Channel. I'm from Nigeria. Now think about it again. A car that generates its own power as it moves, no gas, no diesel, no plugging it overnight, nothing like that. Just endless energy. I know that this sounds like something out of a sci-fi movie, but it's real. And it's happening in Zimbabwe. Now let's take a look at this video and we'll talk about it right after.
The vehicle uses what we call the microsonic energy device. The microsonic energy device is the device that I personally invented in 2009, which has as you know, radio frequencies, they are measured in nanovolts, meaning to say that less than a volt, they are just like nothing. But we find a way of harnessing it through the creation of the components in the microscope, which are tailor-made to that design. So those are the components that will enable the radio frequency to be transferred to pure physical energy in a specific physical.
This is the first and only vehicle of its kind in the world. If this technology is scalable, it will completely disrupt the automobile and energy industries as we know them. So imagine never needing a charging station again. How do you think the likes of Tesla and even other EV manufacturers will feel about this? No charging station anymore. And let's not even talk about big oil companies, because this car eliminates their relevance entirely. But here's where it gets really dark, right? A few years ago, Maxwell was poisoned, unfortunately, and he believes that it wasn't just an accident. Even his colleague who was also poisoned died from that. He believes that this was a cartel within the oil and energy space, threatening his life. Even his mentor, Dr. Farai Kitsande, said that there were multiple attempts on Maxwell's life way before that.
The poison is that child to catch it, he died in January 2017. I survived by the grace of God.
And when we look at history, we've seen inventors. We've seen stories about inventors who unfortunately encounter mysterious events like sudden disappearances, sudden illnesses. And Maxwell himself said that his self-hiring technology touches multi-billion-dollar industries from oil and gas to electricity providers. So if people could power their homes and cars without relying on fuel or the grid, the financial losses for these industries would be massive. So those birds are not a surprise at all. And guess what? He once used to live in the US. And when he was in the US, Maxwell said that he was offered millions of dollars to develop the invention there. But he turned it down. He turned it down, and he believes that got him in trouble. Instead, he came back to Zimbabwe because the Zimbabwean president Emerson personally invited him to return home and continue his work.
Imagine a car that never needs charging, unlike Tesla or internal combustion engine cars powered by fuel. These new cars and a racing motorbike are being powered by something called microsonic energy. This is the reality of Zimbabwe-born inventor Maxwell Chikumbutso, a 44-year-old man and a high school dropout.
This is what we call microsonic as microsonic energy device, which is the device that I personally invented in 2009, which harness radio frequencies converted into energy. As you know, radio frequencies they are measured in nanovolts, meaning to say that less than a volt they are just like nothing, but they find a way of harnessing the creation of the represent of the components in the electron image, which I tailor-made to design. So this kind you can also use it to power your house. It is a moving generator. You can drive from work back to your home, then connect your power cable, then you can power your house. It gives you 15 kilowatts power to power your house.
The microsonic energy-powered vehicles and motorbike will officially be launched by the President of Zimbabwe on February 10, 2025.
Now, with the government's backing, a self-powering vehicle is being developed in Zimbabwe. And this is set to officially launch on the 10th of February 2025. Max will partner with the Chinese automaker Kai. So what they do is that they provide the car and then Max will integrate his groundbreaking technology into that car. Now this man is no stranger to invention. For so many years he's worked on groundbreaking inventions, things like the wireless self-powering television, a generator that produces electricity without fuel, without gas, no need for diesel, no solar panels, just continuous clean energy. Then he also worked in a hybrid power helicopter. So this man is literally working that could change the world. He's been doing this for years. Now what does this mean for Africa? Let's zoom out for a second. This isn't just about one man, it's about Africa's future. So if Maxwell's invention succeeds and if it is mass produced, it could mean that Africa isn't just consuming technology anymore, we'll be leading it. That's pretty much what it means. Just think about it. If Africa starts developing its own energy solutions, what does this mean for oil giants around, particularly the West? Africa starts producing its own world-changing how this history tells us one thing. Whenever Africa tries to rise, there's always resistance. So the real question is, will powerful industries allow this to see the light of day? Will the automobile industry, the oil giants, and energy companies do anything to stop this from seeing the light? Will they do everything within their power to stop it? Because at the end of the day, this isn't just about Maxwell's car, it's about power. Who controls the future of energy? Who gets to dominate the automobile industry? These are the questions. Let's talk about it. Drop your thoughts in the comment section. You can follow me on TikTok at Ife_hi. My name is Ife Igwe. I'm reporting from Nigeria. Don't forget to.
Good morning, Douglas Randall here.
So we're down to the last one, guys. Hold on. So let's see what Brother Don says. Elon Musk get billions from our government, and a high school dropout from Africa makes him look ignorant. Yeah, he does with his invention. But he didn't even do it, brother Don. There's a whole scandalous affair behind all of that Elon Musk with Tesla that went on. And he was on the verge of bankruptcy. And he lied on some financial document saying that the big Daimler Chrysler was behind him. And that's how he got his money to get everything started. And he just lied. So Elon Musk is not the genius that we all know. It's other people who are working with him or working for him that putting in the work. But like you said, this guy it will bury Yeah, it will bury Tesla if it ever gets out into the general market, international market, and it will. And the thing about it is that uh, it can be used for home energy as well. You know what I mean? I can't remember the name of that company in America that does home. It's like you put it on the wall. It's like a solar panel kind of thing, and the energy from the sun charges it back up, and then during the day you use that one, and then go and use that during the night or whatever. I don't know how it works, but what's the name of that place? I can't remember. Hold on, let me do a home energy because they got a whole bunch of them now. I put in home energy solar panel. You got one for Tesla. You got one the solar. You got the solar panel one. You got solar.com. Uh, for the life of me, I can't remember the name of it. Hold on, let me see. But it's a very popular one that seemed to do better than Tesla. Yeah, it's gonna come to me probably while I'm talking. The name of it, but they got quite a few here now, and yeah, I don't see it. Hold on, let me see. More we go. This will be the last one. And solar panel, see that? Energy Save, that's another one. Home Energy Club, that's another one. Uh, yeah, I just don't see it here. Well, you probably know it starts with a C, but I just can't remember the name of it. Does anybody remember? Yeah, it would do a serious damage to the oil and gas industry and other industry. You got that right. And all that money will be going right back into the pockets of the continent of Africa. So we are on the rise, man. You know what I mean? Yeah, there's no doubt about that. So let me get on to the next one. This is going to be the last one. It lasts for 25 minutes. I'm going to let it play out and then do my final uh, comment, and then we'll be done for this week or for today, and we'll be back next Saturday. So this one there, how did white people mess up a 400-year head start? I'll be right back.
How did this happen?
This is a question I ask myself whenever I'm scrolling on social media and then I come by, say, a homeless white person. In my head, I'm always like, what do you mean you are white and homeless? How exactly did this happen? Like, what do you mean you are white but you are poor? Like, Bikonu, I beg, take Mike, please, and explain to us all exactly the fuck how that happened. How did it go wrong for you? Exactly. How, with all of that privilege, you still ended up homeless? Like, what excuse do you have? So you mean to tell me that after all of the pillaging, the slavery, the colonization, the thievery of lands and the resources and the creations of them indigenous peoples globally that your ancestors did, so make life easy for you, so parachute you right from the womb even to success, somehow you still ended up unsuccessful and a failure? All of that privilege that was handed to them on a platter on their laps, but somehow they fumbled it. I don't know about anyone else, but that low key annoys me. I'm not even going to lie.
How is it that a nation of people, a race of people, held people of color by the collar while they allowed their people to get a 400-year head start? You sabotaged anything we could have done. We couldn't read, we couldn't write, we couldn't unify in any way, we couldn't congregate in any way. We weren't even considered human. See, this is why I am so proud to be black. I'm so proud to be a person of color because we have the best story ever told. Regardless of what criticisms I've given my people, regardless of what critiques, regardless of what I've said about my people, I still view us as the greatest. And by us, I mean the people of color.
For real, because if you look at it, after everything that black people have gone through, they were still able to, even within the time they were being subjugated, create amazing things. I remember when I first found out about black inventions and of course the time frame when these inventions were made. And I'm like, you mean to tell me that during this time you guys were still able to create all of this, do all of this? So I cannot help but wonder if black people could have been doing this, if our brothers and sisters in the diaspora could have been doing this even while they were being subjugated. Imagine the things they could have done if they weren't subjugated at all.
Don't you know who you are? These people held you by the collar, held you in place so you couldn't move, learn, do nothing by yourself. Also, they can stay ahead of you. Do you understand what that means? That means that they know how powerful you all are. They know how powerful a black woman is. They know how powerful a black man is. Because if they didn't, guess what? They would have pulled themselves up by their own bootstraps and built America on their own instead of going and kidnapping slaves. Oh, wait, white man, I know what you about to say. Oh, but black people weren't the only slaves. No, we weren't. But we were the only ones who had our identity completely stripped from us. We are the only ones who have been completely separated and don't even know the origins of African Americans. Oh, but Africa sold you guys into slavery. No. The very few chiefs, kings that did that cooperated, were considered outcasts, alienated, were considered traitors well before that transaction even happened. And plus, it's kind of hard to deny a transaction when we ain't got nothing but bows and arrows and y'all showing up on ships with rifles making offers that we literally cannot refuse. Let's not forget how America plays.
They've been giving you options, but you don't really have a choice, though. Because if you don't pick what they want you to pick, you get sanctions. You get this thrown at you. You get banned. But they be telling you you have a choice. It's like the free will that exists in the Bible. They be telling you how you have a choice to decide whether or not you want to serve the Bible God. But if you choose to not serve him, you burn in hell for all eternity. That's not free will. That's literally an ultimatum. I once told somebody that asked me, "Oh, if you're no longer religious, what happened?" And I told this person, I said to him, "I mean this with all the respect available in the world, but one of the reasons I stopped being a Christian, there's like a plethora that I can't get into. Or one of the reasons I stopped being a Christian is because looking at the God of the Bible, when I really paid attention to how the God of the Bible be acting, it's giving too similar to colonizers for real. I see too much similarities in the way they operate, so I left respectfully."
After leaving religion, the most popular question that gets asked is, so what do you believe and who are you serving now? You see, that question is just like me having a master. Maybe I was a slave and I was able to escape, and then people ask me now, so who's going to I'm a slave. That's exactly what's happening.
Oh, but Africa sold you guys into slavery. No. The very few chiefs, kings that did that cooperated, were considered outcasts, alienated, were considered traitors well before that transaction even happened. And plus, it's kind of hard to deny a transaction
when we ain't got nothing but bows and arrows and y'all showing up on ships with rifles, making offers that we literally cannot refuse. Let's not forget how America plays. Let's not forget how America presents you with an offer, but the offer is really rhetorical. It's really a trick question.
There are certain nuances that we need when we're compassing in general. And more so, we need nuances when we are talking about history. But unfortunately, not because of nuance. So let's try to bring some nuance into this conversation of our ancestors sold us into slavery. Let's start this conversation with the example of armed robbers barging into your home in the middle of the night. You are in your home sleeping with your family, and a group of armed robbers barge in. Against your consent, they break down your door. They have guns. They want your money. They want your jewelry. You are on your knees or lying flat on the ground with a gun to your head and the heads of the rest of the family members. You have no power here. You are not in control of the atmosphere. But these robbers, after taking all that you have, which is valuable, are now asking you for the permission to give them your daughter, even though you know in this situation that they are genuinely not even asking you for permission because they can take her anyways, but just to haunt you, to torture you even more, they want you to make the decision. And you, in your head, thinking, maybe I should sacrifice one for the sake of the rest. You decide to sacrifice one of your daughters. All these amigos are gone after taking your money, after taking your jewelry, and after having their way with your daughter. And now these amigos went and wrote their side of the story. And they said, he said we can have her, knowing fully well that he made that decision out of the rest. This man was in his home. He wasn't the one who went out to look for armed robbers that would come walk in and have their way with his child. But now, because the armed robbers were the ones who were able to get their side of the story out first, the story out there is that this man gave his daughter to the armed robbers to have their way with. When we have these conversations, and I see African people say our ancestors sold us, without putting into consideration the atmosphere that our ancestors were in at the time. I feel like it's very unfortunate that we do this and we do not only ourselves but our ancestors a great disservice. These people were in their own homes. They were on the continent minding their business. These other groups of people traveled across the ocean and they came into our home, Africa, with weapons. Totally changed the atmosphere of the place. They took over the continent. People were now living in fear. Now you have these people making decisions that ordinarily they would not have made if these people did not come on their continent to change the atmosphere. I don't know what angers me the most when I see Africans drop comments like this. I don't know if it's the narrow-mindedness that is in obvious display, or the fact that they are in 2023 on their mobile phones in a far more stable time, in a far more stable climate than the one that our ancestors were in. Judging our ancestors for making decisions that I know for a fact that they were not proud to make, but they had to make these decisions for their survival. And the fact that they even made these not so proud decisions is the reason why we are here. Like, it truly is mind-boggling that some of us can be on this high horse right now. And the only reason why we can even climb on this horse is because of these people that we are judging so harshly. And the holier than thou attitude that some of us have to judge these people, when we don't even know what decisions we would have made if we were the ones in the situation that our ancestors were in. But we think we can judge people who were in their homes. Again, our ancestors were in their homes. The terror took a boat and invaded their homes and put them in a tight spot. You guys speak like our ancestors were living in the same climate we're living in right now. Some of you make it seem as if they even put a call through to the colonizers and the enslavers. Oh, hello, King Queen. Is that Queen Elizabeth? You know what? I think I have a few people I want to sell to you. And in people's heads, is that how it plays out for you? Because guess what? That wasn't what happened. They were selling us without our consent. Have you for a second even considered if our ancestors consented to be selling to begin with? Of course you haven't. You don't think about their perspective, you don't think about their side of the story. Why should you, right? The colonizers have told you what you should think about, think, feel, and believe, right? And again, I will continue to ask, they sold us. Where are the things they sold us for? What did our ancestors get for selling us exactly? Where is the ancestral wealth? The old money families that were into selling Africans, where are they? Because I need evidence of this trade. In America, families who were big into slavery, we know these families. We see their money till date. Where our African people who sold us, where are their own? That's what I want to know. I just want to remind you guys that our ancestors were in their homes. They were in their business. They didn't ask for all the things that happened in the past to happen. Yes, they may have made some decisions that they are not very proud of, but they were decisions they had to make to survive. Survivor was why they did the things that they did. So to blame these people that had no control over what was going on really, they had guns to their heads while they were making these decisions. But you would rather blame our ancestors and not the people who came into their homes and changed the climate that resulted in them or created the situation for them to need to make this kind of decision to begin with. In case you guys have not noticed it yet, our ancestors were victims. They were in their bloody homes minding their business. Very sad. Very unfair that the only perspective it had to go off of the stance of the enslavers. And I also think it's unfair that some people just take their words for it. I mean, come on, we're talking about a group of people that were colonizers and enslavers and arrow warders and thieves. They committed all sorts of crimes. But somehow, some people think that these people who did all of these things and then some more can't lie. Let's be so for real. It just amazes me sometimes that people still take the colonizers' rhetoric seriously. Like, how do you even believe these kind of people? They've proven to us that they are not morally upright people, or somehow people believe that they would write down the truths in history. This is why I said in one particular video that got taken down. Maybe I'll be able to find like a repost or a duet or something on someone else's page. I'll check. Or in this particular video, I said I don't know, but I struggle with believing that people who could make things like this would be in awe of the mirror.
Hold on.
That doesn't add up.
For those of you who don't know, but there is this history about how the colonizers basically said that the Africans sold some of their own for things like mirror and umbrellas and a bottle of gin and whatnot. I'm like, that don't make no sense. History wants you to believe that when the colonizers came to Africa, we were backwards, uncivilized, uneducated, uncouth, barbaric savages, and we were in awe of mirrors and umbrellas, and even sold our families away into slavery for mirrors and umbrellas. History wants me to believe that the people who made all of these arts that are presently sitting in museums in the Western world were made by people who were backward, uncivilized, and uneducated. These people saw mirrors and were in awe. Take a close look at this majestic art. Shout out to Mali, by the way. This is from Mali. You see the star sign, two star signs that's clearly crested on this art. Stars that both have a half moon over them to be specific. This was made before colonization and was stolen during. Bless my ancestors. They want me to believe that they could do this, but they were backward, uncivilized savages who were in awe of mirrors. You are probably wondering, why is she going on and on and on about the mirrors? Yes, I have to go on and on and on and on about the mirrors because maybe if I go on and on and on about the mirrors enough, it will start to make sense as to how exactly a people who can do this would be in awe of mirrors. People who created all of this were considered to be 3/5 of a man, less than humans. But then they came and stole the works of these men that were less than men and put them in museums where we cannot even find their own works to compare with. A people so great and progressive that was spread out all across the continent was reduced to nothingness in the history books. And the saddest part is that we, the descendants of these people, believe the BS in the history books. Quoting Darren, a South African TikToker who once said, they interrupted our civilization. They did not bring us one. These people want to convince us that a group of people that had palm wine, a group of people that have their own local alcohol, gin. We call our local one over here in the south, Ogogoro. We have that. Very strong and very nice, by the way. But they were somehow in awe of the gin that the white man brought. Even if they can't make mirrors, you need to tell me that in all of the years they've been trading with the Asians, they've never exchanged mirrors. That they will not be in awe of mirrors. That don't make no sense to me. Dear African child, be careful what history you read. Dear African people, we need to start doing something about the history that's being taught on this continent. Yes, victors really do write history, but it's up to us to have common sense and really take a close look at Victor's history, scrutinize it, because it could very much be white lies that may mix fogs, that inhibits you from seeing your paths to your black truths. Have a lovely day. These people's museums are filled to the brim with the things that Africans made, the things that our ancestors made. But let them tell it, and it's Africans that were in awe of their stuff.
Side eye. Side eye. You are a liar. Lies, lies, lies.
I keep telling people, believe these people and their quote unquote history at your own risk.
Throughout all the trial and tribulation, throughout all the horrific acts done by you, we are still here. So I ask again, how did you fumble a 400-year head start? How did you fumble a point in time where you were trying to completely eradicate people of color and you couldn't do it?
And guess who's slowly going extinct? And nobody's even trying to eradicate them.
Did to me. People, get over it. By the time these young people get ready to have children, they will realize that as the hole in the ozone layer gets larger and larger, more and more sunlight is allowed to enter our environment, and more people who have pale faces are going to die of melanoma, which is a skin cancer that you get if you don't have enough melanin in your skin. Let me tell you, people of color are going to be very much in demand for reproduction in the future. And mark my words, you're laughing now, but you wait 20 years. You won't even have to wait 20 years, because they're going to see that if they want their children, their grandchildren, and their great-grandchildren to survive, they're going to have some melanin in their skin. That's the way it's going to be. This is going to take care of itself.
It's like karma.
That's why I be so mad at my people. That's why I be so disappointed in my people. That's why I be on y'all the way I be on y'all. Because these motherfuckers know who you are. These motherfuckers know how powerful you are. These motherfuckers know your potential. They just convinced you that your potential is low. They convinced you that you're a nobody. They convinced you that you are nothing and you are lesser than them. When if that was true, they would have built America on their own. They wouldn't have had to go and get them slaves. They wouldn't have had to deal with Africa at all. They wouldn't have had to take out loans from that same tyrannical place that they say they fled from. They wouldn't have had to create alliances with France. They wouldn't have had to use Christianity to start the slave trade if they were so great. How did y'all white folks mess up a 400-year head start? The same thing. Every 4 years, they blaming every issue in America on people of color, on immigrants, when you're an immigrant, on Joe Biden, on Kamala Harris, on Barack Obama.
They blame it on everybody except the motherfucker that created the system that we in. White people now are like, oh, woe is me, the country's going to shit. Oh my God, the immigrants. Oh my God, we're gonna lose this. Oh my God, the tyrannical government. Oh my God, what are we gonna do? The America's going to shit. No, America's been shit. You just now finding out. You late to the party. Why did you not listen to people of color when we told you all of this back then? See, when it was beneficial to be white, you ignored all of us. But now that your privilege is virtually gone, dead, because the same system, the same government, the same media that you put in place has gotten greedy and now sees you, white man, as a target too. Yes, you have privilege, or at least you had it. And this is usually where they start whining on what privileges do I have today? The 400-year head start that your ancestors gave you, that's a privilege. The fact that y'all were allowed to run full sprint as far as you can run, while everybody else was held in place trying to run, can't get nowhere because they are held by their collar, by your ancestors. How did y'all fumble a 400-year head start? God, I love being black. I love being a person of color. Because do you understand the level of failure that is? Every 4 years, this damn country's on the verge of collapse. Every 4 years, it's the same policies being presented. Every 4 years, it's the same promises broken. And guess what you all do? Still participate in this system. But when shit go bad, hey, we need to change this. They're not going to change nothing. You know why? Because your vote is free. You don't demand nothing for your vote. You don't demand nothing for the dollar. You don't demand nothing for nothing. So why would they respect you? Why would they help you? Why would they rebuild America in the image it's supposed to be in when you're paying for corruption? Why would the devil change the devil's ways if you keep playing the same game that the devil likes to play? Here go the whites. It's Kamala Harris, it's Joe Biden, it's Barack Obama. No. It's America.
Everything this brother said, that's the video. I came by this video a little while back. This video is from before this recent elections even. So I wonder what brother is even saying right now, given the recent turn of events and how them folks are spiraling.
I've reached the part of this whole like class consciousness part where I'm just filled with the most impotent rage and like I'm talking that white hot. I need to sink my teeth into something and scream kind of rage. Because what do you mean that it never had to be this hard for us?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Like, what do you mean?
It's rounding down now.
They don't have to spend 20% of their paycheck on groceries. What do you mean in other countries everyone can own homes because they're not paying $2,000 a month in rent, or that their mortgages aren't like their entire paycheck?
Well, guys, what are your thoughts? Let me know down below in the comment section. Thank you very much for watching. And of course, as always, I'll be catching you in the next one. Bye.
All right, that's a wrap. What I'm going to do, I forgot about it. I'm going to go to Brother Maurice's Brother Maurice's WhatsApp, and then we'll be wrapping it up. These are one of the things that I wanted to. Hold on, stop the sharing. No, I gotta share it. So these are some of the things that our Egyptian fathers and mothers invented: 365-day calendar and leap year, organized labor, surgical instruments, cosmetics, the plow, paper, black ink, ink pen, shoes, high heel shoes, condom, hair wigs, hair weaves, hair dye, hair extensions, straightening comb, makeup, haircuts, hair brush, hair comb, breath mint, toothpaste, shaving, prosthetics, body part, solar calendar, paved road, clock, boat, sun and water, vase, glass, perfume, wine, scissors, needle, ramp, key, lever, the chisel, door lock, writing, astronomy, medicine, mathematics, government. I don't know what to tell you. We are the most important people on the planet. Now, this is interesting here. I found this one. Contrary to the lie, Christ was not Jewish. He was a black African born in the black African village of Nazareth in Brazil, South America, which is why the greatest annual celebration of this black Christ still occurred near that Nazaré, Brazil, the Círio de Nazaré, Brazil. The black village of Nazaré, Brazil is named for the ancient black deified Osiris, called Astar, from which we get Nazareth. Nazareth. Jewish religious people, I guess, hated this black village because it was about a star and not about the deity called Amen. The war between worshiping Asar or Amen was tremendous, as ancient Egypt black history would still tell us. Get it right. There we have it. I could go into that, but I'm not going to. Where you at, brother Donald? Hold on. It's coming up. Let me see. Now this one, Alexander the Great was black. These are some of the statues and paintings and murals of that era depicting him. His physical features can be seen clearly in the statues of Lysippus, who was in fact the only sculptor Alexander regarded as good enough to portray him. Lysippus has perfectly captured what many of Alexander's successors and friends tried to imitate. The way he cocks his neck with a slight inclination to the left and his melting gaze. Appel's famous picture, the Wilder or the Wilder, I don't know how you say that, of the Thunderbolt, has not accurately produced his complexion, but make him too dark and swarthy. He had a pale complexion, they say, and his skin used to take on a ruddy tinge, especially around the chest and face. Plutarch. The first picture of the left is on the left. I'm sorry, it would be this one. Is the Minoan Kenosis Crete mule. The second picture is the Etruscan Apollo Scastaro, a statue that was inspired by a statue of Alexander the Lysippus. So yeah, as you can see, he was a black man. Let me see what else that doesn't matter say anything. But it said it happened after Alexander's son of Philip, the Macedonian who came out of the land of Shittim, had smitten Darius, king of the Persians, and Media Darius was a black guy. That he reigned in his stead as before over Greece. These were black men and women, all right? No. You probably seen this when this guy, along with his friends, that told his best friend, this guy, it was his so-called best friend, a method, came through the back door and beat him damn near half to death, but he died later. This is the sculpture, the culture of these people. And this one, this guy, let me see. This is what they do. These people have mental issues where they want to cut off their ears and their noses and reshape shit. It's just crazy, man. Hold on. Oh, shit. Well, okay. Hold on. Oh, okay. Hold on. So now we got that. We got the reparation payment in 1990. USA paid 1.6 billion for Japanese American, Jewish American, 25 million. Indian Eskimo, 250,000 square miles of land. Japanese Canadian, 230 million, 32 million, 31 million, so on and so on and so on and so on and so on. And when we get down to black people, nothing. Hold on, I'm trying to find. I thought I had put it up there, but down. Hold on. Let me see. Hold on. Let me go through this one, and that'll be it for that, right? I think yeah, you put it on mine, not but Donald WhatsApp. So let me go there right quick, and then we'll be out. All right. Hold on. Boy. Okay, let me see where. Yeah, yeah, I did cover that. Okay. Yeah, I did cover yours. That had nothing to do uh, uh, with XRP. So I did cover that already. So we're gonna get on out of here and get on home and go on to bed 'cause it's late. So it's a 2 hour and a half hours. I'm doing a good pace. So let me get on out of here and let me do my closing remark. So and yeah, you're right. You can home to run for free. Will not be a blessing. His invention and fusion can make a huge impact on a global power structure. We really need to pray for our brother. Yeah, you're right. And brother Donald said Tesla and Musk survive off of government welfare contracts. That's all right. So let me do my closing comment, and then I'll see you tomorrow, brother Marie and Donald and brother Willie. I really appreciate you guys sticking around and being a part of this. And my final comment is, fuck all white folks. Just that goddamn plain and simple. They don't count. They never counted. They ain't shit. They're like a pile of fucking dog shit with flies all over. And we're bees being very productive, pollinating other plants to improve humanity and producing honey. And if necessary, sacrificing some of our bees to protect the hive. Freedom is not free. And for a bee to waste his motherfucking time trying to talk to a fucking fly, and these white folks are nothing but flies hovering around shit that they don't understand a goddamn thing about eating or tasting honey. They never will. They look at you like you done lost your fucking mind. So why waste time trying to talk to them when you know you're a bee? You know you are a bee, and it's a waste of time. So associate with your own kind. Unify around that concept of political, economic, spiritual, and uh, 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 physical unity. And this is what is happening on the continent of Africa. Gaddafi said, if you kill me, you'll be opening the door to all of hell for all of eternity. And now look at it. All white folks are converting to Islam. They're getting their ass beat throughout Europe. They're not going to share that with you on the media. And them getting their ass whooped by niggas. Are you fucking crazy? Are you fucking mad? Do you really believe they're going to do that? The revolution would not be televised. Just not. And they don't want to break that image of being in control and being in, having a foot on the neck of black folks. They're not. Their foot is not on your goddamn neck. Your foot is on theirs. They need us. We don't fucking need white folks. They dumbing in a box of motherfucking rock. We've always been intelligent. We will always be intelligent. And as a matter of fact, there was a study done by top geneticists throughout the world at Yale University, China, Japan, and other places that said the white man, woman, people are nothing but one step up from the monkey. The monkey scored 3, 4, and 5 out of a 10 scale. White folks scored a 6. Black people, 9. You might always say 10, so it'd be 10 out of 10. As far as your IQ genetic trait go, however it goes. But I dealt with that as well. So, but again, our problem has always been unity. When two brothers fight to the death, the stranger in the middle gets the key to the house after both are too tired to try to defeat the real enemy. That has always been our problem. But as soon as we stop fighting, as soon as we unify, all the blessings come raining down on us. That's it. So with that being said, I will see you guys next Saturday. Hopefully my boy Elijah will be here. I don't know what the hell happened to him. I did send him the stream key, so but maybe he was busy. I don't know. But Brother Marie, if you listen, I'll see y'all tomorrow, and peace out. Love. The next 365, 24/7. Stay blessed.